Today, we're continuing our exploration of reversible lace knitting with the purse stitch. This unique looking stitch is much simpler to make than it looks. So after we look at how to knit it, we'll explore the structure of the stitch and the selvages for you to apply to your projects. This stitch is similar in structure to the stitch we'll explore in the next video, the mesh stitch. So let's get started. The purse stitch has been in my reversible stitch pattern collection for a long time because it's very simple and at the same time it doesn't look like conventional knitting. It's a 2-stitch 1-row repeat, usually written as all rows, yarn over, purl 2 together. Let's start with a sample. This is non-pilling acrylic yarn size 4 that I found in Mexico. I'm using 5mm needles for this sample. I've cast on 12 stitches using a modified longtail cast on to make the edge a bit stretchier. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a demonstration in a future video. I've not added selvage stitches like I usually do. We'll get back to that in the next section. As I said, the stitch is very simple. Yarn over, purl 2 together. Let's do that again. Yarn over, purl 2 together. Make sure the yarn over is separate from the yarn being in front of the purl stitch. The yarn over increases 1 stitch and the purl 2 together decreases it again. So you should have the same number of stitches in each row. I'll do a few more rows so we can see the stitch pattern better. Isn't that wonderful? Let's take a look at the stitch structure more closely. Firstly, like all 1-row repeat patterns, it's naturally reversible. The stitch pattern starts with yarn over and then purl 2 together. So as you're knitting, the yarn over is to the right of the corresponding decrease. For the next row, you can see that the yarn over from the previous row is now on the left. So in the next row, the purl 2 together combines the purl 2 together from the previous row with the yarn over now sitting on the left. This is the key to this stitch. Here's a diagram if that helps. As we work, yarn over, then purl 2 together. So for rows in this direction, yarn over first, then purl 2 together. So when we turn and work back, the purl 2 together is worked with the yarn on from the previous row on the left. Changing the order for this stitch changes the stitch pattern completely, as we'll see in the next video on the mesh stitch. If you have some experience with reversible stitches and diagrams, I want to point out that there is actually a second way to work this stitch. The key is that the purl 2 together is the reverse stitch of the knit 2 together. So we can use that to read the diagram in the opposite way. Specifically, the diagram is written to show how the resulting fabric looks, not how to work the stitch per se. This is the same type of conversion as when a flat knitting stitch pattern is changed to circular or the other way around. So reading the row in this direction, we have yarn on, purl 2 together. However, working every row in the opposite direction, you get knit 2 together, then yarn on. Here I've worked a few rows and indeed the stitch pattern looks the same. The only difference is the selvage, which is what we'll talk about next. One great aspect of this stitch is the natural selvages. I find it matches the stitch pattern nicely and is quite unique. So additional selvage stitches are not required, and in fact I think they detract from the overall work. The selvage that you see here is the result of the yarn over at the beginning of the row, and it's not difficult to do. In fact, yarn over at the beginning of the row and knit 2 together or purl 2 together at the end makes a beautiful selvage with other stitch patterns as well. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested to see a video on exploring these selvages and see it incorporated into future reversible projects. The motivation for this video is this scarf I made a few years ago. I like the combination of the strong red color of the yarn and the robust look of the stitch. I've added a ring to one end to give it some extra interest. For the next video, we'll be exploring a closely related reversible stitch, the mesh stitch. So pick up your knitting and create something awesome. I'll do my best to respond to comments, and I'd love to hear about your favorite reversible knitting pattern. Also feel free to subscribe to my channel for more awesome reversible knitting. For those of you still here, The last few years I've been working hard to find simple ways to feel better, what I call my daily well-being practices. This is not medical advice, I'm just sharing what works for me. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm not a naturally relaxed person. I worry and stress about everything, it seems. This is not good for my health or for the people around me. Besides knitting to relax, I have found that I can consciously allow my anxiety to escape using visualization. I imagine my stress leaving my body and dissipating into the environment. The sun bakes it, the wind blows it away, the water washes it away, and the earth absorbs it. And then it's harmless. It's important to practice, and deep breathing through the nose is also helpful, of course. It's a quick and simple thing I can do in the moment and throughout the day to release the buildup of tension. There are lots of videos on relaxation techniques. They're easy to find. Have a great day.